Data challenges lie ahead for the Fed's cuts in September. Welcome to Market Insights. I'm Peter Devlin. Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic said yesterday it may be time to cut interest rates, but cautioned that he's still looking for additional data to begin easing next month. So, what are the final data hurdles before the US Central Bank's September meeting? Joining me now to talk about all that is Satyam Panday, Chief US Economist at S&P Global Ratings. So the second reading of US GDP today revised growth higher at a 3.0% annualized rate. So have fears of a recession diminished?
Well, the upward revision does suggest that we are at a steady path in terms of output growth. When you look at the underlying demand of the private sector itself, we've been sort of a step slower than what we were last year, but still, it is a pretty solid position to be in right now. At the same time, inflation has moved down. So I think this is exactly the kind of picture that anybody would want to have, especially heading into the fall season.
So looking as well to the initial jobless claims that came out today, overall barely moved in the latest week, indicating the labour market is moderating only gradually. But overall, do we see momentum in the labour market negative?
The momentum in the labor market, for various reasons, including revisions to the data and some of the temporary factors, it has sort of slowed down more than what many had expected. It's more closer to a trend-like path than anything else. But that does also bring up the whole issue with, okay, maybe perhaps we should start to cut rates now before it becomes, too late in terms of the employment mandate of the Fed.
So overall, in your notes, you expect a 25 base point cut next month. Overall, how much weakness in August job numbers would prompt a 50 base point move?
I think if the August jobs number that comes out in the first week of September, if that number underperforms our expectations, which is basically close to the last 3 months average of 170,000, I think the Fed might consider 50 basis point rate cuts for September as well. Again, we don't expect that as the most likely outcome, but the risks are there indeed, especially given what Chairman Powell said during his press conference, where he basically said employment mandate is sort of the key here moving forward more than anything else.
So as well, the Fed's preferred inflation gauge due out tomorrow. What overall are you expecting?
We're expecting more of the same disinflationary trend to persist. Another 0.2% rise month over month, which would, for the PCE headline number inflation, that should take us to about 2.6% year over year growth rate. For the core PCE, maybe perhaps a little bit less, 0.1, especially given what we saw with the CPI and the PPI data already out. But that, again, both of those will be 2.6% on a year over year rate, which is just fine. That's what the Fed had been expecting. It's probably underperforming what the Fed was expecting anyway. So I think they're happy with the outcome.
Could a much higher surprise, though, derail September cut expectations?
I don't think so. I think he's made a pretty clear signal from the Jackson Hole meeting that the totality of the data, not just one data point, the totality of the data has given them enough confidence to go ahead and begin the easing cycle starting September, at least with the 25 basis point rate cut.
And finally, looking to the rest of the year, plenty more CPI prints to come. Overall, we've seen the narrative and now seeing risks turning to employment growth. So will the Fed turn a blind eye to stagflation?
No, definitely not. They wouldn't turn a blind eye to stagflation, but at the moment, they are leaning more towards being cautious about the employment growth. They would put more weight on employment side of things, especially given the inflation expectations itself are quite anchored around 2%. And the path of disinflation seems like it'll be persisting at least through this year. So at the moment, employment is fully sort of in their mind of how to get ahead of that curve, and they don't want it to get worse than where we are at right now, which is close to trend.
Satyam Panday at S&P Global Ratings. Thank you very much for your thoughts. And that's Market Insights. Don't forget, you can watch more videos on Reuters.com.